PT Academic is owned by Pearson Education. Uh, I'm sure most of you would be knowing about Pearson Education. Those who don't know, let me explain what is Pearson Education. Uh, Pearson Education is 175 years old, largest education company in the world. Guys, did you ever imagine PT is owned by 175 years old largest education company, Pearson? It's headquartered in London. Pearson is a proud owner of world's smartest English language proficiency test, PTE. We are not just in PT Academy. Because we are largest education company. We also cater in different segment of education like courseware, publications, school management, higher education, and how can we, we'll not be in digital education. We are also in digital education. Yes, our USP is world-class educational content and assessment. And Pearson's mission is to help people make progress in their life through learning. Now let's talk about PTE. PT Academic is world's leading computer English test for study and immigration. When I'm saying leading computer based, means complete process, pre-test, on the test day and post-test. Everything is on computer. Nowhere pen and pencil is required. Nowhere offline approach is required. You from the booking the test to get the result and sending score to university, everything is on online, digital, on the computer. This test is recognized by all international bodies and universities, globally recognized. I'll talk about recognition in later in the slide in the presentation. But just an overview, it is accepted by Immigration Body of Australia, New Zealand, Engineers Australia, Nursing Australia, Australian Computer Society, more than 750 universities in US, 100% acceptance in Ireland, non-SDS colleges in Canada, 96% UK universities are accepting PTE. Now, this is important to understand. What are the similarities and differences between PTE, IELTS, and TOEFL? Well, the very first, PTE is a computer-based test, fully computer-based. IELTS is a pen and paper-based, and TOEFL is an internet-based. At least in India, I'm talking from Indian perspective. These are like this. IELTS has recently come up with computer because demand is more for computer tests, and IELTS has also started, conducting tests on computer. But yes, it's in a very small portion, and only 5 to 6% of total test takers who are taking IELTS are taking IELTS on computer these days. So I'll not be talking about IELTS computer, which is a very small, chunk of students, small chunk of test takers. I'll be talking about IELTS on pen and paper. The booking and registration in PT Academic is completely online, like I said, and it can be booked on phone as well, over the phone as well, and you can book your test 24 hours before in advance. I mean, you can book the test as late as 24 hours. IELTS can be booked online definitely, but they have another arrangement as well. They have given their registration portal to these study abroad consultants and agents, and on every registration they pay commission. So you can go to consultants and can book IELTS from consultants' place as well. But IELTS you need to book at least 15 days to 1 month in advance. TOEFL you can book, definitely it's online. You can book 7 days before the test date. You can also book 4 days before the exam date, but then you will have to pay late fee. Test availability in PT Academic, basically test is available every day in the year, almost 5 to 6 days in a week, and multiple times in the same day. So it's like you can take the test in morning or afternoon or evening in the same day. Wherein in IELTS, it is only available in weekends, 3 Saturdays in a month, and 1 weekday, which is Thursday. So 1 Thursday and 3 Saturday in IELTS. 48 times in a year, and TOEFL 50 times in a year. Location, all three tests are, you know, conducting the test across the globe, everywhere in the world. Duration, PTE is done only in 3 hours. You need to report 30 minutes before the exam. IELTS is done in 3 to 4 hours. It takes one day, 3 to 4 hours in one session, and another session for speaking, wherein you have to come 30 minutes before the before your speaking test. And on first day, LRW, listening, reading, writing, you have to report 1.5 hours before the exam, which is additional from 3 to 4 hours. TOEFL takes around 4 hours, and you need to report 45 minutes before the exam. Format of the test is almost same. Like all the four modules are assessed in all the three tests. In PTE academic, test basically comprises three parts. Speaking and writing are together in section 1, then reading, and then listening. There is a 10 minutes break between reading and listening. It's optional. If you want, you can take the break. If you don't, you can continue with the next module, which is listening. But I would suggest you should definitely take 5 to 10 minutes break in between reading and listening. In IELTS, there are 4 parts: listening, reading, writing, and speaking. Listening, reading, and writing are done in one day, and speaking is done on another day. In TOEFL IBT, all the 4 modules, listening, reading, writing, and speaking, are done on the same day. Then delivery and assessment is very important part of any English language proficiency test. And delivery is done on computer, like I told you at the beginning. It's done on computer, 100% computer marked. Assessment is done by the computer only, 100%. No human touch, no human assessment is in PT. IELTS is completely manually checked. Even listening and reading are done on OMR sheet, but checked by markers, not by the computer. And speaking has different examiner, and listening has different. Your writing has different examiner in IELTS. TOEFL, reading and listening are done marked by computer, but speaking and writing have different examiners in TOEFL. So that is also done by human examiner, TOEFL. Results are available within 5 days in PT. However, 85% of results come in maximum 24 hours or 48 hours. In IELTS, result comes on 13th day from the day of exam. And in TOEFL, it comes approximately on 10th day from the day of exam. Then accessing and submitting result, that is post-test, after your test is done. You get your result in 5 days, and then you can access your PT academic result in your PT academic profile itself. You can send your scores to unlimited university in PT academic without paying any extra cost. And score is valid for 2 years. It is valid for 3 years in Australia for immigration. IELTS score can be assigned to 5 universities, institution, free of cost. But there is a catch. You have to mention these 5 universities at the beginning of registration. Once the exam is done, you cannot send your scores if you have not mentioned those universities, institutions' name in registration form. Score is valid for 2 years, and same as for TOEFL. You can send it to 5 institutions free before taking the test. Additional, you need to pay $20 per institution if you want to send score to universities, and score is valid for 2 years. By the way, all the 3 tests are valid for 3 years in Australia immigration. Australian government accepted for 3 years from the day of exam you have taken the test. So there is no disparity in that, and it's valid for 2 years across the globe as well. A score comparison scale of scorecard is like 10 to 90 in PT Academy. I'll show this later in the slide. Then scored on a point of 9 band in IELTS and 0 to 120 points in TOEFL. Moving next, Let's have a look why students, choose this PT academic. They prefer PT academic over IELTS and TOEFL because this test is fast, flexible, and fair. Why this test is fast, flexible, and fair? Let's have a look. This test is fast because you can book the test as late as 48 hours before the exam. 85% test takers get their results within 24 hours from the exam. Let's say if your exam is done right now at 8 o'clock, you'll get your results maximum by tomorrow 8 o'clock. I mean, isn't it convenient? You can send your score report online through your PT account immediately after receiving the scores. Once you get your scores, you immediately can send it to universities. I mean, I've come across a lot of students who are in hurry. They need to send their scores immediately, and they have to wait for 13 days in other tests. But in PT academic, it is you take the test today, you can send it in 2 or 3 days. You get your results within maximum 5 days, and you can send it immediately. Uh, Average preparation time in PT academic is what we have seen for an average English speaker. English a student who is average in English can prepare PT academic in maximum 20 to 30 days and can give the test. I mean, can book the test immediately and can appear and can get the result and send the score. Even let's say if somebody it's not necessary that you can qualify, though repeat test takers are very less in PT academy. Hardly 10 to 15% people repeat the test, which is almost 3 times in other tests. In case, let's say in first attempt you do not score well, you can retake your test within 5 business days. So let's say today you can book a test for 3rd of October. You get your results maybe on 4th or 5th. In case if you do not score well, you do not score the desired score level, you still can book your test for 9th of or 10th of October, and you can still get your result on 13th, which is not, I mean, in 13, 14 days, you can appear in the test twice and get the result and can send to the university, which is not the case in IELTS or TOEFL. In IELTS, if you're giving the test today, you'll be getting your result on 14th. Isn't that an ease? Isn't that convenient to you? So that's what make this test convenient for students and for consultants as well. And that is what I'm intent to uh, give the message today. A lot of people think that PT academic is easy. No, it's convenient actually. When you get convenience, then you feel easiness, and that's the USP of this test. So fast, this is why this test is fast. Next, flexible. Why this test is flexible? It allows you to cheat. No. Actually, this test is flexible. Why? Because it is available 300 plus days in a year and more than 5 days in a week. You can register your test around your commitment days. 36 exam centers in more than 22 cities across India. So you can take the test anywhere. You're traveling anywhere. Let's say you cannot come back to your hometown, or maybe you are in your hometown. You want to take test near to your hometown or in your hometown. Anywhere you can take the test from 36 exam centers across 22 cities in India. Only one sitting is required. Just one day, one sitting, and 3 hours. You need to report 30 minutes before your test. So total would be maximum 3.5 hours. So you don't even have to take full day leave. If you are free in weekdays and in the first half, you can book your test slot for the first half and you can take the test in the first half, and you can join your office, college, school in the second half. Even in the test is available in Mumbai. There are 3 exam centers, 2 in South Mumbai, 1 in Central Mumbai, Andheri. So you can take the test from anywhere, and all 7 days are available today in either of the centers. So you can book the test, you can take in weekend, in weekdays, anywhere at any time. No concern of good handwriting here, because you don't have to write on a piece of paper. You just have to type on computer, and very limited typing is required in this test. I'll explain you later in the slides. Then only one test. Okay, this is very important point, guys. See, let's say if you're going to, let's say you're planning to migrate to Australia for PR, and the first thing when you go to any immigration consultant, he'll ask you to take English proficiency test, and then you go and let's say you take IELTS. For PR, you need to take GT, General Training Test. You take IELTS, you come back, and you submit your score to consultant. He'll do his checks and everything, and later on he comes back. This happens, and I've seen many examples. Later on he comes back, he says, no, you do not qualify for PR. Why don't you go through study route to Australia? Why don't you go for 1 year MS in Australia, PG program, and then you can apply for PR after completing your MS, and you can get a job there, 2 years extension, and then you can apply for PR. These are actually very prominent, and that is why I'm giving you this example. Then what you will do after taking GT, that GT will go in vain. You'll have to take AC, that is IELTS academic test, which is not the case in PT academic. Here, if you have taken, once you have taken PT academic, this is valid for Australian PR, Australian study, Australian job, anything. So isn't it a really convenient, a flexible feature? Yes, it is. You can send scores to unlimited institutions without any fee. We just discussed in the previous slide. You need to pay extra charge in IELTS and TOEFL if you don't give 5 institutions name at the beginning of registration. But if you miss that, you need to pay. Even after 5, you need to pay in IELTS and TOEFL. Unlimited acceptance for study and migration application. And this is the only test which includes non-native English accents as well. Partial marking system is also very helpful and flexible. So partial marking is what? Let me explain you. Let's say if there's a question, if you do 50% correct, 20% correct, you will get 20%, 50% marks in PT. It's not like if question is slightly incorrect, you lose complete marks. No. So you will be getting partial marks in questions. So that's how this test becomes very flexible for students. Moving next, fair. How this test is fair? Machines have no emotion. Machines cannot judge religion, caste, dress, or has no feelings or any kind of a mindset or something to create impression or any doubt. Shall I give him 5 or 5.5? Shall I give him 60 or 65? No. Machine has some algorithms and some artificial intelligence driven assessment system which is created on the basis of previous responses, created algorithm for answers, and based on those algorithms, machine gives a proper marks without any biasness or without any error. This is just like if I ask you to add, let's say, 1,33,478 plus 2,33,478 on a piece of paper. You will take time, and there are chances that you can do error. But if you do the same on calculator, it will be 100% correct. So the same thing is there. There is no human touch. It's completely artificial intelligence driven assessment system, and the marks are accurate without any human touch, without any human biasness. The only English language proficiency assessment test, there is no interview skills required. So there is no speaking examiner, face-to-face speaking, wherein you have to sit in front of examiner, and the examiner will look into your eyes and will ask questions, and you will get nervous in answering questions, or maybe you have to be confident, you have to dress up well. Those things are also important in speaking, face-to-face speaking, but that's not required in computer-based English test, where you interact with computer, you speak over the microphone, and your answers, your responses get recorded in the system, and based on your responses and your answers, you get marked. PT academic recognizes more than 1,000 different accents across the world, I'll also explain you how it works. We have captured almost more than 100, speakers around the world. We have captured their accents, and based on those accents, we have created algorithms, and this machine identifies those accents very clearly. So this is how this test becomes, fast, flexible, and fair. And these three features, in fact, these three things are very important in any English language proficiency test. It has to be fast because you do not have so much time to just prove your English proficiency level. It has to be flexible and fair, so that what you do, you should score for that exactly up to your skills.